Hi, I'm Linda. I'm a minister of the Order of the Blue Star, and I'm here with the latest edition of the Blue Star Connection. Tonight, I will be talking about color and light. That's something that's been interesting to me for a long time, along with music and sound. So, ancient cultures have used color for healing forever, including Egypt, India, and China. It's called chromotherapy. It's another word for color therapy. And so they've used colored light and minerals and dyes to treat ailments and to balance moods. They believed that each hue had certain energetic vibrations that could heal the body and the mind. So the ancient Egyptians, they would pass sunlight through colored gemstones and crystals also onto the patients to treat illnesses. And they had treatment rooms. They would build solariums with stained colored glass in the windows so that the patients were bathed in specific colors of light. And each color was supposed to have a distinct power. In Chinese medicine, the practitioners associate specific colors with elemental systems, organs, and emotional states. And they often use colors in diagnosis and treatment to restore the vital life force or qi within the body. In Ayurvedic medicine, they use colors to balance the body's chakras. And they considered illnesses to be imbalances, and so color was applied to restore harmony and balance to the physical, emotional, and spiritual self. So when I read that about the Egyptians and the colors in the windows, I remembered going to family reunions, and so this would have been back in the 1960s and 70s. So my relatives would have been born like in the early 1900s, and they had colored glass bottles in their windows. I thought that was really interesting, and I guess at the time I just thought, well, maybe they were gifts. They just got pretty bottles of lotion or perfume or something, and they put them in the windows because they thought they were pretty and they wanted to keep them. But now I think about it, it's like stained glass. It was really pretty with the sunlight coming through all those colored bottles. It had that same effect of the stained glass windows with the color therapy. So I thought that was interesting. I did some counseling with an alternative practitioner back in the 90s. He had this, I'm going to call it a machine. It was called a Lumitron, and it had to do with colored light. And it was kind of on the leading edge back then. It was kind of like you would sit in a chair inside this enclosure, almost like being inside a video game, and there was a screen that would flash colored lights at you. And so it would start out, the counselor would have control over what color the light was, and it was also a strobe light, so it had a flicker rate, and so he could control the flicker rate. And so the idea was that I would just be talking about whatever it was that I had on my mind that I was trying to resolve or, take care of. And so he would start with the red light, and it would be a really slow flicker rate, and then it would gradually speed up. And then it would progress on to orange, and then it would speed up again, and it would progress to yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, just like the chakras. It would go through the 7 colors of the rainbow. And what I found was that different things would pop into my head, like with the changing of colors. Suddenly there'd be a memory that I didn't have before, or I would realize something that I never realized before. I'd have a new insight, or I'd have a new question, and I'd have one kind of emotion and then another kind of emotion, and it really did. It was like tapping into all the different layers. When we have experiences, there's so many layers to it: emotional and mental and physical, and our whole sense of identity, and our our expectations about the past and the future, and our subconscious, and all of that. It's all in there. And so it seemed like the flickering lights and the colors of the lights brought out all those different pieces. So it was really interesting. His name was Stephen Vasquez. I'm not sure if he's still around or not, because it was in the 1990s. But it was really interesting. It's called Lumitron. And so the definition, the description of Lumitron says it emits low intensity pulse colored light in a darkened environment. Practitioners use it to deliver targeted light rays to the eyes, which travel via the optic nerve to the brain to influence things like circadian rhythms, the pineal gland, and the autonomic nervous system. So it certainly was influential. I certainly had more insight using that than just sitting in a room talking to someone. That's for sure. So when you're doing something like that, when you're looking at light or looking at colors, it goes through the eyes directly to the hypothalamus. It regulates the endocrine system and the hormones and the nervous system. It needs the full spectrum of light, so each color is different. Red light stimulates the sympathetic energizing branch of the nervous system. That's the fight, flight, or freeze part. Blue or purple stimulates the parasympathetic system. That's the rest, digest, and heal part. Green light is neutral, and it balances the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. There is a book, I believe I used to have it. It was recommended. It's called Light, the Medicine of the Future, and it's by Jacob Lieberman. Light, the Medicine of the Future. So, one thing it talked about in that book was Ott lights, OTT. It was named after a man named Ott who wanted to make full spectrum lights, because the light bulbs back then were pretty sad. They were all incandescent. They were yellowish and not very bright, and especially artists wanted true bright light in their house to do their art, where they could see the true colors. And so he created the Ott light, and I got one. I had two or three. I still have one, and they were expensive back then, but they're supposed to be absolutely full spectrum light, and they're the kind that you bend them over your desk so you can see really clearly all the true colors when you're making art and so on. And I think they're great. They're the brightest light bulbs I had ever seen back then. They're terrific. And we know people used the bright light therapy for SAD, seasonal affective disorder. I don't know if it's the same kind of light or not, but we know lack of light definitely can cause depression, and especially the more up north you live, the longer your winter lasts, the more likely you are to suffer from that lack of sunlight. And I saw a video of someone talking about how colored lights helped her recover from a traumatic brain injury. There's something called syntonic therapy, and it has to do with when you're identifying, like you look into a machine and you're identifying colors that are sparking in different places, and whether you see them spark or not. And when there's been a traumatic brain injury, you can't see as many of those. And they did some work with colored glasses, like sunglasses, but they had different colors in them, like green and blue and red and so on, and did some therapies and things with that. And then she was able, her brain improved to the point where she could recognize more of the sparks of colors over time as they documented it. And she really credits the color therapy as helping her recover from the traumatic brain injury. So I thought that was really interesting. So a little bit of science. So light is electromagnetic, and human color vision is based on 3 types of cone cells. So we can see millions of different colors, but we really can only see 3 colors. So we've got these cone cells, and there's some that are sensitive to blue-violet, there's some that are sensitive to green, and there's some that are sensitive to yellow, green, red. And so it compares these signals, the relative proportion of red, green, and blue, and it makes up whatever color it thinks it is. So we recognize all these different colors, but our cones are just recognizing red, green, and blue, and that's it. There's animals, some animals like cats and dogs, they can see blue and yellow, but they can't see red and green. There's other animals that can see more than what we can see. Shrimp and butterflies can see way, 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 way more colors than we can. I guess it's in their evolutionary best interest. So there's way more colors out there that we humans can't see. So let's see. So back to science. So we can't, even though we can't see them, we recognize them. And color blindness is when one of our cones doesn't work and we can't recognize it. And some people, more women, have extra cones that they can see like a 4th color that most of us can't, which is really interesting. And so the thing about the red, green, and blue that I thought was interesting is the screens on all our devices just use those three colors, red, green, and blue. And I didn't really know that, but I'm sure I heard it in the past. But all the pixels on our TV screens and our phone screens are red, green, and blue. So we see yellow, we see purple, we see all these colors, but they're not there. They're not there. It's just red, green, and blue. And then the proportions make us think that we see these other colors. And there are the other colors from the sun. The sunlight, if you put the sunlight through a prism, it's going to make the 7 colors that we know, the whole spectrum of colors. So if we see purple in a rainbow, it's really purple. It's a purple wavelength. You know, if we see yellow, it's really yellow. But not on the TV, not on the phone. So, interesting. So, after my experience with the Lumitron, I kind of created my own homemade color therapy system. I had bought this book. It's called Let There Be Light by Darius Denshaw. And he was part of, there was a system called the Spectrochrome system that was a machine that they invented to do color therapy. It was a medical doctor doing it on patients in the hospital. And this book, I mean, they worked out a whole system of exactly what colors would help what illnesses. And I mean, it's very specific. It's very specific. But these colors, you can get them in theater gels, which is what they use for color spotlights in the theater. And so I found out about that. So things like this. Okay. So this is a color gel that they would put over a spotlight. And so I got a bunch of color gels, and I put them in these little plexiglass picture frames like this. And I bought a strobe light. This is back in the 90s. This is homemade. So I would put the color in front of the strobe light, and then I could make the strobe go as fast or slow as I wanted to, or I could have it on constant, and they'll look at the different colors. So that was my homemade color therapy that I did. And if you're interested, this book is probably still out there. And let's see, there's like one of the websites I found is called Stage Spot. And if you go there, they have all colors of these little theater gels that you can buy. They're plastic. You can cut them with scissors to any shape you want. And so they even have a category that's called the Denshaw Health Society. So they even have the exact color gels that were recommended by the medical doctor that was using them decades and decades ago. So you can buy a set for like $15, I think, if you want to play around with that. And So there's a difference between colored light and colored pigment. So light is additive. If you take red light plus green light plus blue light, it makes it white. It makes white light. If you take pigment, if you take red and green and blue, it will make black. Because pigment is absorbing and light is projecting. So there's like two different ways to mix color. So that's why when you get your printer ink and it's cyan, magenta, and yellow, those are the pigments. Those three pigments can make all the colors. But if you're using light, it's red, green, and blue. That's different. So, science. Some of the ways that light is healing, one of them is red light therapy, and I can vouch for that. I have a red light. It's like a belt. It's like a panel of little tiny red LED lights, and it's infrared. And it's the invisible spectrum and the visible spectrum. And it helps inflammation, it helps healing, it helps all kinds of things. And it reduces pain. It helps bring blood circulation to wherever. You put it on your face. It's supposed to help with wrinkles. We're trying that out. So red light therapy is really good. It penetrates deeply into your skin because of the wavelengths. And they use blue light on newborn babies that have jaundice, that have liver problems when they're born. They use blue light, and it clears out the jaundice. And they've been using some green light, too. Green light seems to be helpful with some things. It also seems to be somewhat good for your skin and balancing. It doesn't penetrate as deep as the red light. And blue light is actually not good for your skin. You're not supposed to use blue light on your skin very much. So, because it all has to do with how long the wavelength is and how deep it's going to penetrate into your body. So, let's see. Oh, yes. So, blue light, we've all heard about the blue light, that at night, if you're watching TV or you're looking at your phone, the blue light can tell your melatonin to stop producing. It halts your melatonin production, and so then you'll have trouble going to sleep and trouble having a good sleep. So that's why they tell you don't look at your screens before you go to bed, because that's the power of the blue light that is doing that. And you can get glasses. I have some regular glasses that have that coating on it that screens out the blue light, because too much blue light can damage your eyes also. If you watch a whole lot of TV, whole lot of computer screen time, you want to maybe filter out some of that blue light. So, specific color associations. This is the fun part. So, different cultures have different ideas about what colors represent, but there's certain things that are pretty standard that pretty much people agree on. So, as far as physical aspects, red is often used to stimulate blood circulation and treat sluggish conditions. Blue is believed to have a cooling and a calming effect, and it's used to reduce fevers, soothe pain, and ease inflammation. Yellow is frequently applied to stimulate the nervous system and purify the body. And green is used as a general healing and balancing tonic to promote harmony and relaxation. And so there's some common emotional associations with colors. So blue encourages calmness and improved focus. Blue environments are associated with mood states that lead to lower heart rate and blood pressure, making it suitable for managing anxiety. Red increases energy, passion, and alertness while boosting arousal. This color can enhance motivation, but may also increase agitation in some people. Yellow inspires optimism and creativity, though too much exposure can unexpectedly increase anxiety. Small amounts are best for lifting mood. Green promotes balance and renewal, often linked with nature and growth. Green settings and emotional regulation and stress relief. There is also a relationship between color and food. There is a book I had gotten, again, in the 90s. It's called Spiritual Nutrition and the Rainbow Diet by Gabriel Cousens. And I think it's still on Amazon. Spiritual Nutrition and the Rainbow Diet. And so he talks about linking the food colors to the chakras. And so he says, for the root chakra, which is red, grounding and vitality, tomatoes, strawberries, pomegranates, and beets. The sacral chakra, orange, creativity, emotions, and pleasure. Oranges, carrots, sweet potatoes, and mangoes. The solar plexus, yellow, personal power and digestion. Lemons, bananas, and yellow bell peppers. The heart chakra, green, love, compassion, and healing. Leafy greens, broccoli, and avocados. Throat chakra, blue, indigo, communication and truth. Blueberries, blackberries, and spirulina. That's blue-green algae. Crown chakra, violet or white. Spiritual connection and consciousness. Eggplant, purple grapes, and garlic. And so I was making like smoothies every morning, and I actually made sure to have all the colors in my smoothie. I mean, it's pretty easy. Strawberries and blueberries and spirulina and bee pollen. I guess bee pollen would be yellow. Bananas, orange juice. You know, it's pretty easy to do. And they say the different colors in food represent the different vitamins and nutrients that we need from the food. So it certainly can't hurt to eat all the colors of food, because you're going to get the best mix of all your nutrients that way, as well as the energies of the food. And of course, he was also very much into the living foods, raw foods, being vegan, and so on. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. But still, getting all the colors of the produce is a good, healthy plan. And he also said, use eating as a spiritual practice and be paying attention to what you're eating and be grateful for it. Another interesting thing I've heard about lately, people have been putting water in colored bottles, especially blue, cobalt blue. It's become a thing. Okay, someone told me just go buy Saratoga water and then reuse it because it's cobalt blue, it's glass, and of course it's clean because it's just had spring water in it, which is really good, by the way. And so people are putting water in the colored bottles and then putting it in the sunlight. And so the rays from the sun are going through the blue glass into the bottle, and so it's getting charged with all the colors, but especially blue because the bottle is blue. And so then supposedly it structures the water. It gives the water more of a different pattern, and you drink the water, and it's better for you than just plain water that you pour in a glass and drink. So, there you go. Get a blue bottle and put your water in it and put it out in the sun. And it doesn't have to be blue. I mean, you could go to Goodwill and find all kinds of pretty colored bottles from ages past and make yourself a whole little system of elixirs and line them up in the window in the sun and, just have a ball. So, interesting. I read about clothing because I've heard people talk about, that the color of the clothes you wear matters, with your energy. And I thought, well, does it? Does it really? And so what I read is that, so the fabric will, whatever the pigment is in the fabric, it will absorb some colors and it will reflect and transmit other colors. So it actually does have to do with the wavelengths of the colors that are coming to you from the light in the room, whether it's sunlight or artificial light. So, let's see. So, some wavelengths are absorbed by the color, and so other wavelengths are reflected, and the same ones that are reflected are transmitted internally. So if I'm wearing a blue shirt, I'm reflecting blue back out to the world, and I'm also receiving blue inside and into my energy field because it's passing through and not being absorbed. So if I'm wearing blue, I'm receiving and transmitting more blue wavelengths than if I wasn't. So I thought that was interesting. So then you think of all the ceremonial uses of colors, like if you go into churches and they have these robes and scarves of particular colors, or uniforms, marching bands, and sporting events, and entertainers, and all kinds of things that they use specific colors, and it is more than just artistic effect. Apparently, it actually does. It's ceremonial, and it actually means something. So I thought that was interesting. Let's see. And white reflects the most wavelengths, and it lets most wavelengths in. And black absorbs all the wavelengths and doesn't let the wavelengths in. So, something to remember. Let's see. Okay. So, modern color therapy. So I was looking around, and I had been hearing about LED colored lights. So I bought some. Let's see. Oh. Will wonders never cease? Okay. They're not really that color. They look white. Okay. So it's 4 bulbs. And they have LEDs inside. And honestly, I don't know if it's, yes, I do know, because it says on the box, it says RGB, red, green, blue. Those 3 colors that our cones can see. So these bulbs make 16 million colors. I guess someone counted 16 million colors from red, blue, and green. So, and they are programmable with your phone through Wi-Fi. This is just amazing to me. So my idea was, since you can dial in any color you want, it bathes the whole room. It bathes the whole room in that color. And color will travel. It will, like, if you're 10 or 20 feet from it, laying in bed or sitting in a chair, it will come to you. It will penetrate your skin, aside from looking at it, and it's pretty. So I'm going to show you, because this is just amazing to me. This may be old news to some people, but okay, so I'm going to move the camera so you can see this. Okay. Okay, so they are white right now. They look white. They are white. Okay. So I'm going to do this on my phone. This is just amazing. Okay. Color. Let's see. So I'll make one of them blue. Okay. Let's see. I will make one of them yellow. Okay. I'll make one of them red. And let's see. Let's do purple. Okay. Look at that. So, isn't that amazing? So you can see the light bulbs still look white. They don't, when I look at them with my eyes, they look the colors that they are. They look red, blue, yellow, and purple. But technology, whatever, they look white through this video camera. But you can tell by just looking at the ceiling what colors they are. And so the whole room looks like that. So it's amazing. So I'm going to set my camera back up here. And so if you need to be cool, if you need to be calmed down, you can sit in a blue room. If you want to be balanced, you can sit in a green room. If you want to be energized, you can sit in a red room. And this is just amazing to me. So you can see the room lighting up as I do this. And they have little programs on here so that you really, really don't have to think at all. They have things that are called sunset and flower garden and ocean and starry skies and things, so that you can dial in whatever you want. And sometimes they alternate and rotate and all kinds of things. So this is my color therapy of the future. This is just amazing. So I'm going to leave it like that. I've got 3 whites and 1 red. Okay, so this is what that looks like. So it's going to get into your skin because it bathes the whole room, and it's going to get into your eyes, into the hypothalamus and the brain, and do all that stuff too. So I think it's pretty good. Even though it's technically only red, green, and blue, it's not like a rainbow. If you really want all the colors, you're still going to have to go out in the sun, because the sun has all the colors, and our electronics only give us red, green, and blue. But I still like it. So and so some other ideas about color and lighting. I have a salt lamp. Those are kind of pinkish colored, and they're ambient and good for stress reduction. Some people say they purify the air because they're made of salt and they release negative ions. There's light globes. Let me grab one. My son gave me this one. So you put a light bulb inside it. You set it on a light bulb, and the whole room looks like this. That's great. So that's another way to use color and light. And black lights. Remember black lights in the 70s? I had a black light and some posters. That's fun. If you buy a prism, you can put prisms in your windows and they'll make rainbows. You can go stand in front of a rainbow and you'll get the real rays, the real colors, not electronics. Another thing you can do if you're artistic and you get those theater gels, you could make like a mandala and hang it in your window. It'd be just like having a stained glass window. You could do all kinds of cool things with that. And let's see. So some other tips. Bring as much sunlight into the house as you can, because sunlight's going to give you more of the full spectrum of light than any of your artificial lights, even if they are really good, really, even if they're the OTT lights and everything. It's like, I like full spectrum light bulbs better than any other kind of light bulb anyway, but sunlight's the best. And bringing in things that have natural color, like plants and fountains that actually you have actual water flowing, and crystals and gemstones and things, nature's colors. Flowers, that would be nice. Have flowers in your house. Let's see. Yes, quartz is supposed to be full spectrum. It's clear white, and so and some quartzes have rainbows in them. If you look closely, you'll see the rainbows. So gemstones that are colors have the qualities of those colors. Like I have a green, I'm not sure, it might be fluorite. So I have a green one. I have, this would be rose quartz, I'm sure, pink. Let's see, this is probably amethyst, it's purple. And these are all pretty if you can set them on top of a flashlight, so the flashlight goes through them, and so then you're sending light through the crystal, and you can look at it, or you can aim it at places on your body, you know, using the colored gemstones, just like the ancient Egyptians. And let's see, go outside. Go outside, because the colors of nature are healing. I mean, you can't get bluer than the blue sky, the green grass, and the yellow sunset, and those colors. Those colors are going to be the most healing you can get. The colors of nature outside. One thing you can do inside. I'm a fan of underwater ocean videos on YouTube because the colors are stunning. You'll see things you've never seen before. With the colors underwater, the sea creatures and the sea plants is just amazing. And I could just put that on. They have nice, pretty music, but you can turn the music off and just let it run on your TV. It's just beautiful. It's just, soaking up the colors of nature. And if you can't be outside, there's a lot of beautiful stuff on YouTube. Let's see. Northern Lights, I've never seen them, but they must be fantastic. They must be fantastic. So I think that's about all I have to say. Well, a couple of things. So, and I'm going to ask you guys about this. So I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to do a little meditation with color. And then I'm going to let you guys chime in on, for one thing, ways that you use color. If you use color that you think is therapeutic, how do you do that? And what do you use? And do you have special tools or anything, or do you just, it's in the way that you decorate your house, or it's in the way that you going outside, or what is it? And also, I have discovered that there's color flashlights. They're LED, and they have little red ones and little blue ones and green ones, and of course the ultraviolet ones are purple if they're cheap. And I'm wondering if anybody has played with the idea of those little colored flashlights, pointing them at yourself and your body, and if there's anything there that's worth exploring or not. Because again, it would be green, red, blue, and nothing else, unless you've got a prism. You need a prism. That's what you need. So, okay. Okay, so we can chime in after that. But I'm gonna read this little color meditation. So you can lay down, or you can just sit where you are and close your eyes, and it'll just be like a little 5-minute break. Imagine that you have coming into the top of your head an unlimited amount of energy And that energy is focused in the form of a marvelous, powerful violet light, connecting you with your soul and God. In the center of your brain, in the region of your pineal organ, this light is now being transformed into a deep purple indigo color, a color that sustains your wisdom and intuition. And as the indigo moves down through your mouth and neck and throat and arms and hands, it becomes a deep royal blue that feeds and nurtures your personal will, your needs and desires, and your ability to communicate them. And as this deep blue moves into the center and throughout your chest, it becomes a beautiful, rich emerald green, allowing optimal flowering of your ability to love yourself and other people. And as this beautiful emerald green moves down and fills your entire solar plexus, it becomes a lemon yellow color, sustaining your interpersonal relationships, your sense of responsibility, and self-esteem. And the yellow now swirls throughout your pelvis and becomes a pure orange color, nurturing your sense of security, your sense of sensuality and sexuality. And as this orange flows down through your legs, it becomes an earthen red color. And it flows out the tips of your toes and the soles of your feet. The red is now purifying all of your relationships with your family, with your tribe, and all of your past experiences. Be aware now that you have this unlimited rainbow of energy available to you to flow into you from the top of your head through the pores of your skin and through your eyes anytime you choose and at any frequency you need, balancing you, harmonizing you, and healing every cell in your body. And all you have to do is have an attitude of joy and love and openness, and your rainbow of energy will be perfect. And with that knowledge, take another deep breath and slowly and pleasantly open your eyes and stretch, feeling and seeing your rainbow of energy in perfect attunement. Okay. So, how was that? It's nice to have a rainbow in your body. Okay. So, let's see. If you have any comments, I am open. I don't think I muted anyone, so I think you can unmute yourself if you have something you'd like to discuss. Any ways that you use color or that you've thought about using color in your life? Okay. Well, I know I'm going to use my fancy LED light bulbs. It's really nice. It's really nice to bathe the whole room in a color, and And it is. I can tell that it could be relaxing or stimulating or balancing and all that. So I recommend them. I recommend them, and they're not that expensive. You can get them at you can get them on Amazon. You can get them at Best Buy, Lowe's, Home Depot, all kinds of places now. And let's see. This brand is GoV. It seems pretty popular and well respected. And there's instructions and programs and all kinds of fun stuff. So I really like them. Okay. No, I can't hear you, Suzanne. Let's see. Let me see if I can see anything within the settings. Or you could type it in, because I can see the chat. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Yes, I see. Suzanne says she's done a great deal of these things with color. I know that you're an artist. And you don't have to be an artist to color either. It's fun to color. I have some of those coloring books that you can buy, the adult coloring books that have all the little intricate designs and a set of 100 markers. Those are fun. You don't have to be an artist to use those. Let's see. She says, thanks for the reminder to add these things: gels, crystals, color charging water, and the like. She would like to know more about using color for a traumatic brain injury. It is called Syntonic therapy, SYNTONIC, Syntonic. And I believe you have to go to a practitioner that is trained in it, and they have a way of checking your brain's perception of the color sparks, and then training it, and then measuring your progress and so on. So Syntonic therapy is what it's called. It's amazing the things you can find out when you look around. I've been using Grok, Grok, artificial intelligence. I never used AI until just a couple of weeks ago. I said, okay, well, I've tried ChatGPT a couple times, let me try grok. Let me see what that does. And lots of information. Let's see. The book Suzanne liked was Roland Hunt's The 7 Keys to Color Healing. That sounds good. I haven't heard of that one. The 7 Keys to Color Healing. Okay. I will look for that. Maybe that's on Amazon or something. 7 Keys to Color Healing. So there's another book to get. Okay. All right, well, I'm going to stop the recording now, and it was good to see everyone, and I hope you found some of this valuable and inspiring, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.